Welcome, guys, to another episode of the Floater Gang. The trade deadline's coming up in a couple days here, so we're going to be kind of previewing different teams throughout the week. But we're starting with the New York Knicks, which are potentially the team that could make the most moves. They're the three seed in the East right now. They're looking to go all in. They're super hot, and I think Lauren has some exciting trade for us. So let's start with him.
I mean, they're smoking hot, like you said, but in my eyes, and I think a lot of people's eyes, they're still not contenders, and that's where they're trying to really go all in. Rumors about signing somebody, but either way, contracts look risky. So I think they got to make a big trade right now. So we're gonna start this off hot with somebody else that has been in trade rumors. They have kind of died down. The Utah Jazz, Lauri Markkanen has been on
Mm.
the market. I
Ooh,
want to see Lauri Markkanen as a New York Knick. So theoretically, the Knicks package would be Lauri Markkanen and Chris Dunn to get that back. He's been great, very great defender. I think he would be awesome in a Thibodeau
He
system.
he is a Tibbs player for sure.
He's a Tibbs player, really great hustler. I love the play. He would bring that playmaking they need with that secondary unit. And I think this would really elevate the Knicks to like really a competitive level. They have a complete second unit. They're deep. They have their backup guard. They have Laurie Markin and Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle as three bona fide stars as their big three. And the Jazz would in return get, so the Knicks would give away Evan Fournier. He's just kind of in any trade really around the Knicks
Yeah.
just because he's getting paid so much money just
hmm
to even it out. Ryan Archidonk, I used to know how to
Oh,
pronounce it.
Archidakano.
I
Ar
think he's like
Archie
Italian.
that I don't know.
Yeah, it's
From
something
the
I
Knicks.
can't exactly, but it's like Archidakano or something like that.
Is a Villanova legend.
Yeah.
Yes, in part for the money. And then they would also give away, so the Knicks, the Jazz are receiving for their rebuild a 2024 first round pick from the Knicks. They're also receiving a second round pick, which would either be their own, they're going to get back, or it's from the Cavs. And then a 2025 first round pick from Milwaukee, a 2025 second round pick from Brooklyn, and then a 2026 first round pick from the Knicks. So three first round picks in 2 seconds. Obviously, the Knicks can give away less. They give away less, obviously. But the reason I put in so much is because there's been a lot of talk. Thunder, right? I think they have a lot more draft capital, and the trigger hasn't been pulled yet. So I think in order for Lauri Markkanen to be in a Knicks uniform, I think the Knicks have to kind of put it in a lot of pieces. I think they have to put in three or somewhere around this, somewhere around three first, 2 seconds, and then I mean two ranks. Like I know Evan Fournier getting paid, but the Jazz, I don't think give a rat's sass about Evan Fournier or
Oh
Ryan,
no.
whatever his name is.
Yeah.
So
Fournier's
it's
played.
about the picks and then the money. So
So
Yeah.
I do love the trade in terms of fit for New York. I think he's exactly the type of piece they're missing. I mean he could play the three. Obviously that would be a big lineup with OG and then Lowry. But I mean the defense would be
yeah,
awesome. The shooting now with OG and Lowry would be awesome. I mean I think that puts them in contender status for sure. Um, for Utah. The return is nice. Three first round picks. Obviously, you would have never thought you would get that for Lowry. The question is, like you said, is OKC. I do think they are interested. They've been rumored to be interested. I don't know if they're going to make the trade this trade deadline. Um, actually, they could because J-Dub just got hurt. But either way, the question is, can the Jazz potentially get more for Lowry from a team with an abundance of draft capital? So I think if I'm the Knicks, I would be okay with throwing in another first round pick in there. I mean, just because this
another
trade
one.
would,
You want to put in four?
I'd put in four.
Ooh,
Um,
and 2 seconds?
oh, for sure. Yeah.
What?
I'd, well, they don't really have many young pieces left, I guess. But
Do you think Lauri Markkanen is worth that much? I mean, we've seen some weird trades. We've seen a Rudy Gobert trade, which would
yeah,
say Lauri Markkanen is certainly worth that much or more. Then we've seen a DeJounte Murray trade,
yeah,
all on protected picks. It's a little difficult to decide how many, but I mean I'm generally with you. I think the Knicks. I haven't heard any rumors about this, but I think this is one they should pursue and pretty
yeah,
much go all in. I don't know how much they are going to try to I don't know. Like this is kind of their window. We've talked about this in our last episode. We talked about Trae Young and DeJounte Murray trade potentially for them, but they got to start pulling that trigger. Despite being a big free agent market, their contracts aren't looking that favorable anymore to where they are
Hmm.
going to be able to sign somebody like that. So either way, they're probably going to have to acquire someone with trades, and they have good assets. They have these picks that can give. They even have a few young guys, Grimes, another guy that could potentially appear in this type of a deal. I didn't think it
Yeah.
was necessary, but I think this is one the Knicks should pursue full-heartedly. This is a really scary death lineup that the Knicks would have, and I know they don't want to ruin this hot streak, but I think this hot streak doesn't prove they're a contender, like we just said. So get Lauri Markkanen. I don't think he'll ruin much because he's not a very 4A star player, not very like ball dominant kind of a guy, not like a
Yeah, he's
super.
not.
I'm the guy. So I
Mhm.
think
I
it would.
mean,
I don't think it would ruin anything. I think it'd be a great fit.
yeah. I mean, I'm just gonna say something real quick, then I'll let Marvin chip in. Larry Markkinen. I mean, I legitimately he could fit into basically every championship team's lineup. I mean, like you said, he could play off ball. He could also create his own shot. He rebounds. He's a solid defender. And he's amazing with catch and shoot jumpers. So yeah, I think if the Knicks can bundle up the assets, they should absolutely go for it. I think they should go. I mean, I think they should whatever Jets ask for. I mean, maybe not like 5 first round picks, but if you have to give up 4 first round picks, if you have to give up Grimes, then so be it. Because this trade makes them, I mean, probably the third, maybe second best team in the East. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a bold move for New York. It's definitely an all-in, we want the chip now kind of move. I mean, Markkanen is still a little younger, but like you were saying, Lauren, they really don't have too much like young pieces still. They're all kind of like, they're all like right there, like higher 20s, 30s. So they're not young, but they're not old yet necessarily either. But it's definitely a lot more of a, hey, we're going to give away our part of our future to make sure that we can get this chip with the guys we have right now, which I don't think is a horrible move. It's just a move that they definitely have to be able to stand behind. But it could be an amazing move. I mean, you had RJ Barrett, and I think Markkanen could be potentially a better player, uh, like a better Barrett for them, just in
Hmm.
talent wise and fit wise. We've seen he's more consistent. He's just a better player, I think, too. And then OG's a great defender. They've been amazing with him as well. So I think it's just a really good trade, but really a trade that they have to make sure they want to do with the terms of risking some of their future in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I hope we can probably move on here in a second, but again, to those picks. Um, Maybe my memory serves me wrong, but I don't have any recollection of the Knicks really drafting anybody particularly well recently. All of their stars have been picked up. They are lucky that they've done good on trades and free agent signings, which also helps again. They're New York City, so you can do that. But in that case, also no big loss on giving away those picks, and they still have a decent capital left. Like they have a pretty normal draft capital left after this a sort of trade like this.
Hmm. I mean, yeah, they have quite a few picks still left in the I don't know their pick bargain. I don't know the word I'm trying to do. But let's move on to the next trade. Marvin, do you want to go next, or should I?
Yeah, so this next one, I don't know if you guys have heard very many rumors about Herbert Jones kind of floating around in a little bit of trade talks.
Yeah.
I do think this might not be getting enough back for the Pelicans for Herbert Jones. But I have the Knicks getting Herbert Jones and Larry Nance Jr. for Quentin Grimes, Evan Fournier, and 2 second-round picks. Brooklyn's next year, or Miami's next year, and Brooklyn's the year after that. I mean, Grimes, we've seen this. I mean, since the trade, he's been a lot better, I think. So potentially his value's going up a little bit there. The Pelicans still have Trey Murphy, and he can play every position Herbert Jones can play. And based off what I've seen this season, Herbert Jones and Murphy haven't been too great when they're both healthy. They still do what they need to do, but in the terms of shooting and kind of having a solid role and know what they're doing hasn't been super great. So I think getting rid of one of those could be pretty good. And then Grimes, I mean, very solid shooter, not a bad defender. And then you have a few picks, and Fournier we've seen too. He's a straight up shooter as well. So I think that could be a potential interesting trade for the Pelicans to look at with the Knicks.
Yeah. Yeah. The Herbert Jones. I mean, obviously the Pelicans got a lot of wings, and they're not going to be able to pay all of them. And I would say you probably value Trey Murphy over Herbert Jones. I mean, it sucks that the Pelicans would probably have to let a player like that go. Um, and for me, at least, if I'm the Pelicans, I don't know if Quentin Grimes and Evan Fournier are the price I would want. That's probably, I don't know, that's probably the best you're going to get. I don't know who's going to give up super good young assets for Herb Jones, but for the Knicks, again, it's just like if you can't go all in, if you can't make that move, Herbert Jones has a nice contract. He's on the 3D wing, and we see the best championship teams have a ton of 3D. I am struggling. A bunch of 3D wings on their roster. So yeah, I see nothing wrong with just going to get more wings if I'm the Knicks, especially if you can't make the big splash. And Herb Jones still has a nice contract for his production. So if I'm New York, I would absolutely do it.
Yeah, for me, I'm just gonna say why. I don't know really why the Knicks need a guy that already have. They have Josh Hart, they have a Kobe. Herb Jones is kind of in a way version of those two. Sometimes has bigger scoring nights, but also less inconsistent. It just kind of doesn't seem like the kind of guy they're missing really on their team. In this trade, I would do it if I was the Knicks because now the why is the Pelicans. Why would they? I mean, a little bit, Deacon. I think you gave a good answer. They might not get that much more if they're thinking about their future and they're like, all right, we might not get it. In that case, I can see, hey, let's get some returns with some picks. And then the question is, well, where do the Pelicans go? Because a lot of people, me included, kind of see the Pelicans as a team that has a lot of unlocked potential still. And I feel like if you're going this way, you're kind of starting to lean towards at least a restructure, rebuild type of a thing, because the return you're getting is nothing to help you win in the next 3 years out of that return specifically. It is only making you worse in the short term. So
Yeah.
I don't. It's a lot of whys for me. I don't think it's like the worst thing in the world, depending on where these teams want to go. I just don't really. I don't know why.
Yeah. I mean, for the Pelicans, it's tricky. I mean, I think Quentin Grimes still has some potential left in him. I mean, we saw it. What was it like a year ago? He was playing solid rotation minutes for the Knicks. So if they could get him back to that, but ultimately, if, it's just the Pelicans are in a really confusing spot right now. Like I think they're solid, but they're not quite in the upper echelon. I don't know. They're kind of just in like the middle for me. And obviously, if Zion can get back to prime Zion, then I think they could elevate. But if anyone has anything else to add, I think we're good with that trade.
Let's go to the next one, maybe.
All right, I'll do my one Nick trade that I came up with. It's also with the Blazers. Um, so I'm sending Evan Fournier. Uh, Notice a common theme. Evan Fournier is in all these trades, and 2024 Dallas first round pick for Malcolm Brogdon. You lost quickly in the OG trade. You're getting back bench production. Assuming, I mean, you could start Brogdon, but I think you would bring him off the bench. Obviously, you're going to get more scoring. Malcolm's been pretty darn good with the Blazers this year
Hmm.
when he's healthy. Um, Obviously, I mean, I think the value you're giving up isn't super significant. Dallas's first round pick's not going to be super good. Um, And if you're trying to go all in, this isn't quite the all in move, but this is just another piece that I think it doesn't necessarily raise your ceiling, but it raises your floor even more. Um, and I think making the conference finals would be a huge success for New York this season. And I think this puts them in a legit chance to make the conference finals. And then you still have free agency next year to pick up another guy.
Yeah, I mean, I have a similar trade actually. So I have Brogdon for Grimes, Fournier, and Washington's 2024 first.
Mm,
Just because the Knicks or the Blazers get a little bit more in return.
yeah,
Two younger, or not two, one younger guard and Evan Fournier, who at this point is just on too big of a contract, so he's
yeah,
probably going to be gone pretty soon anyways, and we've seen Washington literally is horrible right now, so that pick's probably going to be a very good pick for the Blazers. And I mean, I don't know how willing they are to give up Brogdon, but again, the Knicks, if they get Brogdon, I think that's a really good trade for them to make.
yeah.
That's an awesome trade. I mean, all three of us have that. I have it I have the same version, just different money adjustments. But like
Hmm.
essentially, Brogdon is a great fit for the team. I
Yeah.
think Deacon was talking about how great it was. I think he almost underplayed it. I think this definitely is a ceiling raiser, just because we talked about backup guard play. Malcolm Brogdon as a backup guard, catch and
Yeah.
shoot guy, he just gives them a lot of some of things they already have and like, and then he adds to what they're kind of missing. Like a little bit more of a scorer kind of guy, a little bit guy that can score on his own and just kind of lead that second unit in playmaking. So he'd be super awesome. Solid
And
defender.
obviously, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, yeah, you're all good, but I just think he would be great. Here's my question, because he has said recently that he's happy with the Blazers and
Mhm.
he was disappointed with his role on the Celtics. He felt undervalued. So I'm getting the vibes he's not actually really that much ring chasing. He's just very happy having a big role in the team. And I don't know how happy he would be having this kind of a backup role again on the Knicks squad, depending on how many minutes he gets. But he seems to kind of just like being a little bit more in the having a bigger role, a more visible role. That's my only concern with this trade. Fit wise, like player talent, I love
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously, I really like Malcolm's fit with the Blazers. He's just another vet uh, to help out the young core, and I think you always need those. But I think if you're the Blazers, also, he's playing really well. So if you want to maximize on his value, get some nice picks, a young player like Grimes, I think it's a win-win trade in that situation.
it. Yeah, I agree
Yeah.
for sure.
Any other Nick trades?
I mean, let me just throw it out there. Why not? I think this could be interesting. Bogdanovic from the Atlanta Hawks.
Mhm.
Marvin
Mm,
seems to have that one too. We're
Yep.
in the Hawks episode that we're about to do. But I think figure I throw it out here. Again, they kind of need a little bit of scoring. Kind of a guy that can consistently score on his own. They got OG, a big trade, but he is not kind of guy that can really get buckets. Like right playoff game, they need a bucket. Who are they going to go to if you get against a good type of defense and get their own bucket? They have Randall, who is great, but we know he's inconsistent. You don't want to rely on that guy just second guy. Bogdanovic can certainly do this, and he's also a pretty good playmaker. He can kind of play with the second unit if he needed to. Um, and I think he'd be great. They would give up a 2024 first round pick, which is 1 through 10 protected because it's from the Mavs. I mean, it could be their own first round pick. Doesn't really, it's not the same thing. And then Evan Fournier, of course. And that could be something that for the Hawks would be interested in. Evan Fournier is Loki, Bogdanovic, just kind of like worse and not as proven. And then they get a first round pick. But at the same time, it gives that the Knicks just an extra boost. And I think it's a first round pick they can trade.
yeah. I mean, so I really like the Bogdan fit as well. Like you said, good playmaker, good scorer. He's definitely much more of a score first guy than Malcolm Brogdon is. But um, I mean, in that situation, I think it really just depends on the contract with me. And Bogdan's contract is a little bit longer, if I'm not mistaken. Um, I think it's like 4 years, 3 years almost. Um, so yeah, I think I would if I had like the option to trade for Bogdan, I would still do that. But I think Bogdan is a great consolation prize if you can't
Mhm.
get him.
Yeah, agree. I
Yeah.
agree. I mean, while we're down this road, might as well throw it out there. This one's a little more hard to the other Bogdanovic, Bojan Bogdanovic from
Yeah.
the Pistons. Kind of a similar kind of player. Older. I find him a little, I don't know, a little smart, maybe a little better at catch and shoot. I don't know if he's more valuable. I don't know. They're weird. He's almost the same player, but at the same time, he's so different.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think it would be kind of a similar thing they're giving up. They might give up a first round pick, or maybe they'll just give up a second or two. And Evan Fournier, of course, and maybe I threw the Malachi Flynn in there for the contract as well. If the Pistons were to want him, he's young as well.
I mean, yeah, I mean, so he's definitely more score oriented than Bogdan or Malcolm is. And I mean, maybe they just need that. I mean, Jalen Brunson's going to play a ton of minutes in the playoffs, anyways. So if you don't feel like you need another playmaker, just go get Bojan. And he'll shoot the lights out. I mean, we see it with the Pistons this year. I mean, it's kind of gone under the radar, but he's still scoring at a high clip.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously he's like the one option, but Um, I think whoever gets him is going to get one of the most valuable six man, or maybe he starts. I don't know, or he probably doesn't start for the Knicks. But um, yeah, I think I like that trade more than the Bogdan trade, just because
Really,
I think he's a slightly better defender. Um,
that's true.
uh, and then in terms of shooting, they're about the same, but I think Bojan just is more aggressive in that sense.
Interesting.
Both really nice pieces, though. I mean,
Yeah, I mean they're like you said, they're like the same exact player.
yeah.
Pretty much. They have like the same name and they kind of play the same like the same dude.
They're not related, which is crazy to me. I thought for the longest time they were brothers, but whatever. All right. Well, I think that's it for the next episode. Let us know what your thoughts on the trades are. Should the Knicks go all in for Larry Markkinen?
Yes.
And if so, let us know and give a thumbs up, subscribe. See you.